What's up, team? Time for that staff video update. It is fall season. I've got my thicker flannel out. How many of you like falls? Are fans of fall? Anybody? Anybody? If you haven't made your way out to the pumpkin farm, make sure you do that. That's always fun. And we have a lot to celebrate this past weekend. We had 22 new families, 57 growth track attendees, 42 people joined a group. We had the largest student night. Hey, students, where you at? Yep, 327 students. And we're headed into a couple exciting weeks in student ministries. And then this weekend, we kicked off the series, Scary Things God Asks Us to Do. We had 28 people so far sign up for the Tithe Challenge, which I'm excited about. And I had a lot of stories in the lobby. And so if you heard a story where somebody was like, yeah, Holly's story is my story, thinking about campus pastors or ministry leaders, we want to capture those names and a little bit of their story. In fact, I would encourage you to make like a OneDrive Word document with their name, date, name, and a brief synopsis of their story so that when you need to give a vision cast or when you need to pump up a huddle or craft an email, you can begin to collect stories of names and faces at your campus of where God is at work right in your midst. And so if you want to take a minute, hit pause and do that as campus teams, I'd recommend you do that right now. And plus, when we are in need of life change stories, you'll be able to recommend some of those as well without sitting there going, oh, I've forgotten them all. If you get in the rhythm of jotting down stories every single week or on a regular basis, keeping them in a document, it just sets us up for success. Andy Rechtenwald is going to speak this weekend. The second thing that God asks us to do is to share our faith or to tell other people about him. And that is really scary for a lot of people, maybe even for some of you. And so Andy's going to walk through a little bit of that. I'm excited about him and the topic this weekend. And one of the things that we're going to be featuring is our invite cards for Halloweekend and at the movies. Oh yeah, cinematic mode. Got to bring it back here because up here it's, look at that. That's interesting. Sorry. So if you've noticed, we have a little QR code here. You can't see it, it's blurred out. But why don't you go get invite? Well, first of all, how many of you have invite cards? Do you have them on you? Do you keep them in your car? Maybe you got them in your car. If not, find out where they're at, grab some, put them in your car. Keep them with you. If you've got a purse or a man bag, keep a couple in there. I'll tell you a quick story in a minute about that. But if you could pull one out and look at the QR code, just snap it and see where it takes you. And then do that again for this side at the movies and watch like a minute of it. I think that would be beneficial just so that you're aware of what is being advertised and how these invites can be leveraged. So when we were in London, we were at St. Aldate's Church, and they put on the seat an invite card for Alpha. And we picked it up, my wife and I picked it up, because I wanted to look at it and bring it home to go, hey, what's the application, and all of that stuff. In fact, I think I actually have it. I do. I have it right here. It says, curious, stay curious. We were born curious. Let's stay like that. It's got a little QR code. Imagine that. And then on the other side, it's I'm inviting to Alpha, an empty spot with a name. So who will you invite? Tear this card. Have you seen this before? And invite. The call to action is for every person to be aware of somebody in their life that they're inviting. So Lauren and I took it because I wanted to see the document and just bring it back and play around with the QR code and stuff like that. And when we were in the cab ride on our way to the airport, God just used that 40-minute cab ride to start a conversation with a guy who doesn't go to church but is familiar with the Orthodox Church. And then we invited him to Alpha because we had an invite in our hand. And so invites in your hand create a way for that spontaneous invite which can happen in your life. Lauren and I were out on a date night just a couple nights ago, and we were chatting with the server, super friendly, lots of energy. And at one point in the night, he just sat down and he said, hey, how did you two meet? We got to share a little bit of our story. And then church came up. And then he's like, I'm looking for a church. It's been a while. I don't really attend a whole lot, but I know my girlfriend's into something like that. And we had an invite card. Lauren had an invite card in her purse. And so we were able to invite him to Cedar Creek. And so these invite cards have the potential to be that spontaneous connection for someone else that's really a divine appointment. And I think it's important that you keep them, that you tell that stories or stories like that. You remind our dream team and the people that you interact with, the group that you lead, that these invites can play a critical part in making an eternal difference. All right? So that's what I want you thinking about. Halloweekend is next weekend. I'm excited about the Choose Your Own Adventure. I have seen 0% of it. But I know the team is pretty pumped. And I'm going to be telling a scary story from the Bible. I love it because I get to go to places in the Bible that some of you aren't even aware of. This year is going to be one of those crazy stories. People are going to be like, I cannot believe that that's in the Bible. But it is. And we're going to use that to introduce people to Jesus. It's going to be fun. So here, do me a favor. Would you just hold on to these invites and take a few minutes praying for people to come and experience the weekend, that our church would be inspired to invite, that God would begin preparing the hearts of those who are going to be attending for Halloweekend or at the movies, and thank Him that we get to be a part of His work in our world today. So do that now, all right? Thanks, team. Love you guys. See you this weekend.